Today, we're going to talk about something that's frankly make or break for AI in regulated industries. And no, it's not the latest algorithm. It's about the human systems that we wrap around this tech to keep it safe, effective, and under control.
This quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. You can have the smartest AI model in the world, but if nobody clearly owns its behavior and its outcomes, it's a massive liability. This isn't a tech problem, you see. It's an ownership problem.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with that ownership problem. Then we'll walk through the solutions, defining roles, separating duties, getting into a good governance rhythm, and finally, tying it all together with something called a unified control plane.
All right, first up, let's dig into why this is such a big deal. The thing is, AI isn't just another piece of software. And if you try to manage it with your old IT playbook, well, it's like trying to find your way around a brand new city using a map from 50 years ago. It just doesn't work.
So why is it so different? Well, look at these 4 points. Your traditional software, it's deterministic. You put something in, you know exactly what comes out. But AI, it's probabilistic. It makes educated guesses. Old software was updated maybe once a quarter. AI systems, they can learn and change constantly. And all of that creates this huge ripple effect across different teams, blurring the lines of who's actually responsible for what.
And here's the bottom line. When ownership gets blurry, accountability just evaporates. When everyone is kind of responsible, it means no one is really accountable. And in a regulated world, that's not just a risk to your project, it's a full-blown compliance and safety nightmare.
Okay, so how do we start to fix this mess? It begins with people. We need to build what you might call a human firewall by making roles and responsibilities crystal clear. This is step 1 for putting guardrails on authority and making sure someone is always accountable.
These 5 roles, you guys, are absolutely non-negotiable. You need a system owner who's on the hook for the business value, a technical owner for the actual build, a quality owner for checking all the compliance boxes, an operations owner for making sure it runs smoothly in the real world, and a governance owner who provides that independent oversight. The key here is that these roles have to be explicitly written down and assigned for every single AI system. No ambiguity, no exceptions.
All right, now that we have clear roles, we have to talk about separation of duties. See, it's not enough to just know who does what. In regulated fields, we have to build in checks and balances to prevent any one person from having too much power. This isn't a nice to have, it's an absolute mandate for safety. So what does that look like in practice? It means the person who designs a change can't be the same one who approves it. The team running the system in production can't be the ones who decide to turn off its safety controls. And the folks who review the system for quality and compliance, they have to be totally independent of the team that's trying to push it out the door. It's all about getting rid of conflicts of interest.
And this is why it is so incredibly important. With a traditional system, maybe a little shortcut causes a small contained problem. But with AI, because these systems learn and operate at scale, that same little shortcut can have explosive, unpredictable consequences that ripple through the entire business. The stakes are just so much higher.
Okay, so we've got the right people in the right roles with the right set of rules. But governance can't be a set-and-forget-it kind of thing. It has to be a living, breathing process. You can think of it like an operational rhythm that moves at the same speed as the AI system itself.
So a good rhythm means you have regularly scheduled meetings to evaluate performance and review evidence. It means you're proactively looking for model drift. You have a clear, defined process for what to do when an incident happens, and you have a formal board that has to approve any changes. If you don't have this constant pulse, really dangerous problems can just quietly build up in the background.
This rhythm also has to manage handoffs. Think of it like a relay race, not a solo marathon. The discovery team owns the initial idea. Then they pass the baton to engineering, who builds it. Then engineering passes it to operations, who runs it. All the while, the quality team is providing oversight. A solid operating model defines exactly when and how that baton gets passed.
So now let's pull all these pieces together. The people, the process, the rules. The best way to visualize this is with a blueprint, and we call it the unified control plane. This is basically the master plan for how you manage AI in a high-stakes environment.
And here it is. I know it might look a little complicated at first glance, but it's really a logical map. It shows the flow from the IT systems, where the AI is developed, to the OT, or operational technology systems, where it's actually put to use. It clearly lays out the system boundaries, the decision gates, and the audit trails you need to prove you're in control.
Let's just focus on the top part for a second, what's called the control plane. This layer is all about one thing, authority. Who gets to make the calls? You can see these explicit approval gates and change control boards. This is where those roles we defined earlier get to use their power to say, yes, this can proceed, or no, stop right here.
Now let's look at the middle section, the execution plane.
This is where the actual work happens. It shows the path from development in IT to deployment in OT, like on a factory floor or in a power plant. But here's the crucial part. That path is completely constrained and governed by the decisions being made up in the control plane. And this might be the single most important detail on this whole diagram. See these red dotted lines? These are your emergency stop buttons, your escalation paths. They absolutely have to be separate from the normal day-to-day workflow. This guarantees that if something goes wrong, an independent authority can step in and shut things down without needing permission from the team that built it.
So what happens when you don't have this kind of structure? Well, you get some pretty predictable failures. The first one is informal ownership. This is where everyone just assumes someone else is handling it. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
The next common failure is what we call governance by escalation. This is what you get when you don't have that steady operational rhythm we talked about. Instead of proactively managing risk, you're just constantly putting out fires and reacting to crises after the damage is already done.
And of course, that leads directly to the third failure. When an incident finally happens, it's total chaos. Nobody knows who has the authority to make the tough calls, and valuable time is lost while everyone scrambles. It's the ultimate breakdown of an operating model.
Now, it's really important to be clear about one last thing. What we've laid out here are the operating principles. It's the how-to for aligning your people and processes. What this is not is a specific org chart. Think of this as the framework you can use to build your own solution, not a one-size-fits-all template. And that brings us right back to where we started. At the end of the day, success with AI isn't something you can buy with more tech or better algorithms. It's something you earn through organizational discipline. You have to structure your organization to actually own these powerful systems.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. When you look at how your teams are set up right now, is your current structure an asset that's enabling safe and rapid innovation, or is it a hidden liability just waiting to undermine your next big AI project?